Before I go on to talk about the case study in more detail, I'm just going to talk you through the types of classification systems out there when we're describing instability of the shoulder. The one that's probably most well known is the one devised by Thomas and Matson, the Tubbs and Ambry. So this essentially divides people with unstable shoulders into two distinct groups: those who've had a traumatic event and those who've had a non-traumatic history. The Stanmore classification recognizes these two groups. So polar type 1 will be your traumatic, unidirectional, may have developed a Bankart lesion, so disruption of the capsuloligament complex, and there may also be some significant bony damage. As you come down the triangle, there is lesser trauma, and then you get the polar type group, so atraumatic. These patients may be multidirectionally lax, and there may be an inferior component to their instability. On the other side of the triangle is also a group where there is a non-traumatic history, but in this group, the element that could be significantly contributing to the instability of the shoulder is the fact that they present with very abnormal muscle recruitment patterns. What the Stanmore triangle allows is it recognizes that there are these three polar groups, but it allows for continuum between these presentations. And the Stanmore classification can help direct both operative versus non-operative management. When we talk about the type 2 group in a bit more detail, can sometimes describe these patients as either born a bit loose or they've become a bit loose. There is some pathological capsular laxity or dysfunction, but you do not see any damage to the articular surfaces, so there's no bony damage, unlike the type 1 group. Sometimes this can be created through microtrauma, so in throwers or repetitive overhead use, or it can be as a result of a very minor injury. These patients will often describe more than one direction of the shoulder feeling unstable, so they often have an inferior component to their instability, indicating some inferior glenohumeral laxity. The choice of treatment generally is rehabilitation, and this is considered effective in up to 80% of patients as a first-line management.